Hello, I'm Laura Jensen. I'm here today wearing my Meishan preservation hat. You've already seen me in the store, you've seen me in the kitchen upstairs and down in the barn, and now I'm going to talk about pigs and how we track our pigs. So I get the question regularly, now I have piglets on the ground, what do I do? How do I track them? How do I know what's what? So I'm going to share with you what we do and what our methods are so that you can figure out what your method is. Now, one of the biggest challenges that I think new breeders face is that there's not a tried and true set method on what you need to do as far as ear tags. There's a large variety of them. There's different systems you can use to track your pigs. So use what I do and take it to your system, your farm, and decide if it's something that's going to work for you or you want to tweak it into something else. So believe it or not, the first thing I'm going to start with is not all these ear tags laying here. I'm going to start with this notebook. I have one of these, my herd manager has one of these, and we write in these books every single day what we saw on the farm, what breedings maybe we paired pigs with, if something's in a fertility treatment, if they farrowed, how the farrowing went, if we noticed maybe a weird heat cycle. Anything that we notice about the pigs on a given day goes in this book. If the vet's coming out and going to look at some of them, because we do ultrasound our sows to confirm pregnancies, so I'll make a list for the vet so that when she gets here, I've got my handy dandy little book. As you see, I use my little strap here quite often because it's a little worn out. And we will often take these books and then backload them into a spreadsheet on our laptops so that we have an extra backup, or it's more done by pig at that point so that we can look at the history on that entire pig. Now, I know you may be saying that your herd is not as big as my herd. We have a couple dozen breeders here alone, so why should you do this? The simple fact of the matter that I found even before we were this big, if you have more than this many pigs, you need to be doing this. You're not going to remember it like you think you are. You're not going to remember the birth date of a litter. You're not going to remember maybe what tags went on what. So this notebook or some system like this will save your butt on a regular basis when you need to go back and see what happened. So again, something very simple, but I highly recommend essentially a field log, a field journal, something that you can keep track of what happened that day on the farm. Set it down, go enjoy your family in the evening, and come back to it the next day. All right, so now that you do have the pigs on the ground and you've got maybe 2 litters on the ground and you're ready to let them run together, but you need to know who's who, how do you go about that? So ear tags is going to be the best way that you can do that. Now, if you think you're going to be selling pigs over state lines, you're going to need to use an ear tag that's called an 840 ear tag. And if you notice, let's see if I can turn this so you can see it. This tag starts with the numbers 840. That's why it's called an 840 tag. That has nothing else to do with where that number comes from but this tag. I'll explain it to you. If you're just using them for your home use, or more breeding stock or easily identified things in the field, you might want to go with something like, you can see this yellow from a distance. I went with these because you can definitely see that and see the number. You got to remember that these pigs are likely to cake this with mud, and if you've got a boar that is, let's say, distracted by a female, the odds of you being able to hold him still, scrape the mud off the end over here, read off the number, and make it all happen can be a challenge sometimes. So these are required by the USDA. These are not, so they each have their own purpose. So let's talk about 840 ear tags. I've got blog posts on this on Meishan Preservation. You can look up what is an 840 ear tag. You can also look up what is a premise ID. So if you are going to have pigs in some states, the simple fact that you have pigs means that you must have a premise ID on file with the USDA. Now that's a free number to get, and what it is an ID tracker essentially. So if you think back to the time when the bird flu was a real challenge or a struggle, they looked at livestock within a certain mileage maybe from where there was an infected farm, and that's the same idea. It's a tracking to know kind of where other farms are, what they've got going on, what they have there, things like that. If something goes to slaughter, some states do require some type of 840 tag. You can get metal clips too. This is just the most popular in our pastured pig world. There's other versions of them. So you really just have to check with your state vet to figure out what your ear tag requirements are. So if you want to go to that blog post, there's a quick link to find your state vet, reach out to them, tell them your situation. I have found that all of them are great to work with, and they'll tell you what's required in your state. So that is the 840 ear tag. So the premise ID actually for me starts with 00N. So like I said, it has nothing to do with 840. I use QC Supply to order my ear tags, not an affiliate, just love what they do. You can give them your premise ID and they will back that into whatever that means on this ear tag. So I know that's confusing on the 840s, but when you hear folks talk about them, that's what an 840 ear tag is. So, okay, let's get into other types of ear tags. One thing I want to point out with the Meishan specifically is we have found that ear tags without this metal tip will not go through their ear. So these are a no-go. I keep them here just to show people it's a no-go. We find that they will bend over, that they just won't go through, that you have to have that metal tip on your ear tag to make it happen, okay? These are probably going to be more for goats and things like that, but they just will not go through these thick Meishan ears. So, colors and numbers. I have found that numbers don't matter so much because they get covered in mud. You've had a sow out there for a year or 12 months. Again, you're not going to be able to read that 59, but what you can tell is it's a triangle and it's yellow. So that's my personal favorite, is to use colors to distinguish what I'm looking at. So you can say, again, I've got yellow on the sows from this litter, orange on the boars from that litter, and that can be a way that you can do it. You can pick ears to say if it's a tag in the left ear, then it's going to be a boar. If it's a tag in the right ear, it's going to be a gilt or a sow or a young female pig. Our feeder pigs, I'll tell you a funny story, use these tags. These are actually sheep tags, but for feeders, this is our automatic identifier for a barrow, cut male, or a pig destined for meat. And when we were designing our program actually this week about what ear does it go in, my herd manager said, well, that's easy. All the girls get them in the right ear because the girls are always right. So that stuck with us. So our right ear pigs will always be sows or females. So that's that one. If you want to use a combination of them, you can. Sometimes I will use, this is what I did last year, put an 840 on all my pigs because the vast majority of mine are shipping out to other states, and I put one of these tags in, be it blue, be it white, be it red, and then I knew what was what. Had my handy dandy field journal that I wrote it down in there on. So how do you actually use ear tags? You're going to need an ear tag gun to install them. This one's my favorite. I have like 3, but this is my all-time favorite. This is a Y-Tex gun, and I think I saw it at that big box farm store not too long ago. But anyhow, this is our favorite. This one has never failed us in the field, and that's a crappy place to be, is with a pig that doesn't want to be there and an ear tag gun that doesn't want to work. So let me show you real quick how it works. We're going to start with this orange tag, old number 2 here. So you've got this hole here, you've got the tag there as far as the way it sticks up. It goes in there. You have a hole in the back of that slides on this. So now what you need to think about is, where is it going on the pig? So let's say if the pig was parallel with me, nose facing out, you might want to turn it so that if I put it on its outside right ear, I could read this number when it was on it. Otherwise, all you would get is the circle orange on the back. Not a total fail, but it may not be what you want. So once you have it in position and you've got your gun loaded and ready to go, let me turn in that, twisted that. It is as simple as pushing the gun, and that's it. It's done. And then you pull that out with the ear, and now your pig has been ear tagged. If you don't hear that pop, you might want to cut it out with a pocket knife and do it again. But by and large, like I said, this gun is my go-to for that. Now, some of the challenges that I've had with ear tags, here's a perfect example of what I wish I would not have done on these tags. Look at this. So if I just wrote down in my field journal 24 MPI tag, what color was it? Did I use one color on one litter and one color on another litter, or one color on boars and one color on sows? So you want to think about that when you're running your ear tags. So now the ear tags that I've ordered for this year, we actually have color-coded series of numbers. So for example, this tag's been discontinued, so I had to change, sadly. So if it was white, I would have selected 100 for that one. And if it was blue, I would have selected the 200 range, or 200 to 299. And I made a note of that so that QC Supply can help me keep that straight. And then I know that I don't ever have to worry about if I didn't get the color. I know that I'm okay in what I've picked for my ear tags. So that's about it for ear tags. I know that's a ton of information. Keep in mind, like I said initially, your program is yours. You don't need to do it like I do it. You don't need to do it like how everybody else does it. In terms of registered pigs and the Meishan, the Breeders Association does require an ear tag as some type of identification or a way to identify the pig, and ear tags are the most economical, most easily recognized means of doing that. So we'll have a video of actually ear tagging pigs here in a few weeks. If you have any questions about setting up your program, or questions about ear tags, just let me know. Just reach out to me and I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you for watching. Now, Laura, over to you. Thank you, Laura. Now, let me show you one other way that we track our pigs. What you see behind me are the charts that we created this week to track all of our breeding stock, all of our breeding schedules, and what's going on in our farrowing pens. So we have roughly 9 sows and 6 boars that are in active service right now. I know that sounds like a weird way to say it, but some of these foundation animals are reaching kind of the end of their breeding career. So we're looking at how to shorten the age of our herd so that we can keep producing those amazing Meishan pigs that all you guys need. So what we have here is our farrowing dates. As you see, we are getting ready to be really, really busy. We've got Ivy and Rosie out front, due May 22nd, Pan Quan. We're not sure what heat cycle she called on, so she'll be either May 22nd or June 12th. By the way, their heat cycle is 21 days, so if you count, that's the number of days in between that window. So if she didn't catch on one, she caught on the other one. Tawanda is coming up, one of our favorites. Everybody loves to say her name, Tawanda! Athena, Cypress, and then Pan Ming, Charlotte, and Zishi just went in with those boars just a few weeks ago. So we went ahead and planned out the farrowings there, but then where are we going next? That's what we wanted to look at. So we rewrote our sows here, and this is the date that, if all goes well here, which we anticipate it will, we have no reason to think it won't. These are our rebreeding dates, and these are the boars that we're looking at for there. So we can go out again. Pretty much if you want to add 4 months to this, then you've got roughly a November delivery on that, which we didn't go that far because we didn't really need to at this point. So what do we look at? What are we looking for when we're putting breeding pairs together? There's a lot of things that we look at. So we want to know genetically how close or far apart are they. We want to know what their lineage is. Are they a foundation animal? What animal do they go back to? And is that line a strong line? That'll tell us where we're going to go with that. And then we also want to know what percentage they are of our 3 unique lines, the Iowa State, University of Illinois, or USDA. So there's a whole lot that goes into it for us. Right now, we want to make sure that we are keeping litters going for all of you amazing customers that are not only genetically diverse, but are a fair representation of our unique genetic lines. So again, I will say it again, the field journal is the way to go. This was when a vet was out to do our ultrasounds, which we always confirm pregnancy with. This is how we chart it and track it. I know it's not probably the fanciest way, but it works for us. And again, I would just say make notes, do what works for you, and if you have any questions that I can help you with, let me know. Thank you guys very much for watching today. I appreciate your following, and we'll see you soon.